everyone, and welcome to People Profile. I am Sophia Allen Hendricks. Today, my conversation is with Christina Chin. Welcome, Christina.
Hi, thanks for having me.
And I know you told me when we talked earlier that you go by Christine. So yes. If we slip and we say Christine, it's quite all right.
It's quite
so perfect. So thank you again for joining me. Now, tell me a little bit about your background, your job as a flight attendant. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, actually, I've been flying for 14 years with this private charter. Previous to that, I've been in the industry for a total of about 25 years. I started with Air Jamaica Vacations as a vacation specialist, and then I was on the ground with JetBlue and Spirit for quite a while. So I've been in the industry for quite a while.
Yeah, that is quite a stint. Thank you. And tell me about how you got into your current role. What drove you or caused you to make the decision that you want to move from the other areas that you were in and go into being a flight attendant?
I've always wanted to be a flight attendant because of Air Jamaica. Ever since I was a young girl, I've always admired the Air Jamaica flight attendants, and I said, that's what I want to be. And it started out on the ground. I mean, I've done everything travel related until here comes Miami International. And then I started flying. They accepted me after 3 interviews and 8 weeks of training. It was pretty intense, but it's, like I said, it's my passion ever since I was a young girl.
Wonderful. What's the longest flight that you take as a flight attendant?
To Europe, 13 hours. However, our aircrafts can only go a maximum of 7 hours, so we have to stop for fuel. So we'll do 7 hours and then we start again.
Okay. And are you allowed on these flights or any of the flights to eat, because it's a long flight? Can you sleep? Things of that nature?
Absolutely. As far as the eating, the company does provide me. As far as anything over an hour and a half is given to us. Sleep, not really. We do have an AFA, which it's an extra flight attendant. We can go in the back and sit and put our heads back, but we're not allowed to sleep in front of the passengers. So what we normally do is take turns with the extra flight attendant so that we're allowed to rest in the back for a little while. But it's such a fast pace that you just don't have time for sleeping. You're not tired, until you get to the hotel, of course.
Now, I'm a nervous flyer, so I'm someone that you will find me clutching the seat on takeoff. What happens if the flight hits turbulence? What's sort of your role during situations like that?
Okay, it depends. If I'm in the middle of an aisle, if it's severe turbulence, I'm supposed to take the nearest seat, even if it's on a passenger's lap, if it's severe. If as soon as it calms down, I'll try to get to my PA because I'm the purser, so I have to make an announcement to have everybody seated. The captain will confer with me as to how long it's going to be because my seat is right there where the PA is, and he'll confer with me as to what he wants me to do. So after the turbulence, we'll go around to make sure everybody's okay and safe.
Now, what happens if someone gets ill or, goodness, passes away?
It's not like back in the days. Nowadays, flight attendants are trained CPR, anything from diabetic coma to heart attacks. We are equipped and trained to handle those situations. Not that we can perform surgery or anything like that, but to minimize the issue, we are trained. So our first thing is we would call to find out if there is a doctor on board or anybody. It could be a nurse, could be any type of a paramedic, anything like that.
Okay,
that's the first thing we announce. We do have emergency kits on board, things like that. So.
Now, would you announce it over the PA? Are there special signals designed to say, I have someone in a critical state?
We just make an announcement for a doctor. We don't say what the reason is. We try to isolate that passenger so that nobody's hovering over them, or we try not to get the passengers excited or concerned. but they don't know what's going on. Just the crew just knows what's going on, and we keep the captain informed. That's the procedure.
Okay. Now, as we're talking about passengers, I suspect that there are times when you have challenging passengers, and we'll call them challenging. What are some of the sort of situations that you find where the passengers become challenging? How do you manage those situations?
Well, let's see if I can give an example. For instance, if we have a chicken or beef, we usually have two choices. And I get to the person who wants the chicken, but the chicken is finished. You know, that's challenging because, I mean, some of them get really, really angry.
Really?
Yeah, because they wanted a chicken, but we have no more chicken. So what I normally do is, you know, I said, you know what, I can go back there and give you a drink of your choice. And normally calms them down. You give them a scotch or whiskey or whatever it is they want, and they're pretty much calm. Or I ask them if they want to, you know, come up to my area and, you know, stretch their legs for a little bit.
Okay.
You know,
do passengers refuse to like put on their seat belts, or they get up when you don't want them to?
No, my clientele is a little different. I don't work for a commercial airline. I work for a private airline. So most of our customers, we know them. The Miami Heat, the Florida Panthers. Well, we no longer fly the Panthers. Military is very, very obedient. I don't know if I'm using that word. But we do prisoner flights, we do campaign flights, like we did a Trump media, things like that. So our customers we know them. They're passengers.
So there's a relationship.
Yes, we know who we're dealing with, and so we don't normally have a problem. We still have to comply with the FARs. That's governed.
Mm-hmm.
So with the seat belt and the walking around and things like that, sometimes, you know, it's a little bit more loose, but they still have to comply.
So on that note, let's take a short break and we'll be right back.
Welcome to People Profile, sharing the stories of ordinary people. Ordinary people doing extraordinary things. Please join your host Saturdays, 9 a.m. for live interviews on Cabin Village TV. Tune in.
People Profile seeks to build dreams using one story at a time.
My conversation today is with Christina Chin Hansen. She is schooling me in the art of being a flight attendant. Thank you, Christina.
Welcome.
So tell me, what's the strangest thing a more memorable thing that has happened to you in your job as a flight attendant?
While on the plane or just?
On the job. On the job, a regular day.
Meeting Dwayne.
Dwayne is in Dwayne Wade?
Yes.
Ah!
Meeting LeBron.
Excellent. So what was that experience like? Was this on the plane? Was this pre-boarding?
Okay. I'll tell you a little tiny story. I was, like I said, I'm in charge. So they sit up front. I make sure they have their meals or whatever. And everything is done China. And he asked me where I was from. So I said, Jamaica. So he said to LeBron, see, I told you, see how feisty and freaky she is? So, of course, all of that got to my head. And, of course, I forgot that I had, because we have microwaves on these planes, that I was warming up the bread. And there comes the smoke in the kitchen. And I was burning up their bread. So at that note, I was not allowed back in the kitchen. Every time I passed by to do my compliance check, he's like, Christine, you're not going back in the kitchen, are you? It was just
So you had a
funny.
memorable
Oh,
experience.
that was very memorable.
Wonderful,
Yes.
wonderful. So as we talk about microwave and Christina burning the bread, how does the plane get cleaned? I mean, we assume there's a crew and all of that, but in
Yes.
your experience, how clean is clean and how does that get done?
If it's not set up in a certain station, because sometimes where we're going, there's no setup because we're private. So we will volunteer to clean the aircraft. We're not about that. It's a quick $100 for about half an hour. We do wipe the tray tables. We vacuum and take the trash out of the seat pockets. We don't have to do it. It's voluntary. But again, it's extra money in the pocket. And it's very, very, very easy. We get a good cleaning once we get back to base, which is in Miami. They do thoroughly clean the aircraft.
Interesting, interesting. Have you had an experience where a passenger tried to bribe you? You know, I would like to be in first class. I'm in,
The only thing with that is our plane is all first class, so all passengers get treated the same way.
So I can't bribe you with a magazine?
No.
You know, some chocolates?
No. Not really.
Okay.
I mean, not really, no.
Any obscure rules that the airline has that I could not imagine? I know I'm supposed to turn my cell phone off or put it in here. I still don't believe it, so sometimes I might try not to do that. But anything else?
Believe it or not, if it's not in airplane mode, it can interfere with the navigational system. So really and truly, we do need to turn those phones into airplane mode. It is put in place for a reason, and a lot of people don't believe that.
So I need to stop being rogue on that one?
Yes.
Okay, all right. In terms of, we talked earlier about long flights. What toll, if any, do these long flights over time take, on a person from your experience flying over the time that you've been flying?
Sometimes you get a lot of fatigue. You can't, when you get to your destination, sometimes if I get into Amsterdam, I'm so tired I can't even enjoy it. There are times when I'm in Greece, and by the time I get there and get to my hotel, I'm just so tired from that long flight. But if it's a country or a place that you've never been, no matter how tired you are, you're going to go with your crew and you're going to explore.
Wonderful. And that takes me to sort of my next question. When you think about long flights, going to these wonderful places that some of us have never been, while it's fascinating, how much of a toll, if any, does that take on your personal life?
Not much. You have to have an understanding. If you don't have an understanding, it can take a toll on your life. But if you have an understanding, for me personally, my job has not interfered with my relationship. Because of, I don't know if it's because of the kind of job my spouse does. Because we're both kind of always gone, sort of.
Got it. Now, for somebody who's thinking about, I'm listening to Christina and I am fascinated with what I hear. I love her personality, her energy. This is a career I would love to pursue. What would you say to that person? You told me a little bit about the passion that you have for being a flight attendant.
If you have to have a passion for flying, you have to have a passion for staying in one place for a long period of time, servicing people. People's person, making those announcements. It's glamorous, but it's a lot to it. You have to have that passion for traveling. If you don't even think about it. Because sometimes it's not even about the money. It's about what you do.
And I'll take it to do the opposite. So if someone is watching and thinking, a flight attendant, not something I'm interested in, that's a waitress job, what would you say to that person?
Nowadays, I have to know how to do CPR. I have to know when a customer or a passenger is in a diabetic coma issue, heart attack, stroke. It's not all about just being up there serving drinks anymore. We are trained to do a lot more than just serve.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So thank you very much, Christina, for being with me today. I learned a lot, and I will promise to try to follow the rules and put my phone in airplane mode. Thank you, everyone, for watching People Profile. My guest today was Christina Chin, flight attendant. Thank you again for having a conversation with me today.